while loop is an entry control loop. This means before entering the loop body, the condition is evaluated first. So we have seen in the previous examples for loop. For loop is also an entry control loop. Similarly, while loop is also an entry control loop. The syntax of while loop is something like this. We have the while keyword, okay, and then we will have a set of parentheses. Inside that we will have a condition that will evaluate to either true or false, and then we have curly brace open and curly brace closed, which consist of the loop body, and inside the loop body you can write whatever statement you want. Okay, so how does the while loop work? In while loop, condition is evaluated first, and if it returns true, then the statements inside while loop execute. When condition returns false, the control comes out of the loop and jumps to the next statement after the while loop. So this is the typical flow diagram of a while loop. We have the initialization phase. Let's say you want to initialize some variable like int I equal to 0, I equal to 1, or whatever you want. We have the initialization phase, and then before entering the loop, since it's an entry control loop, we have to check the condition first. So the condition is evaluated first. If the condition evaluates to true, then we go inside the loop body, and then again when the loop body finishes, again we go back to the condition, and if the condition again it is true, then we go back to the loop body, we execute the loop body, we come back to the condition, again evaluation happens, again if it's true it goes inside the loop body, and then again comes back to the condition. So this cycle goes on and on till the condition evaluates to false. When the condition evaluates to false, then we reach the end of the loop, it comes out of the loop. Okay, so we will see a example, we will see a simple example. Okay, so let's say I want to print the natural numbers 1 to 10. Okay, so what I will do is I will start from int I equals to 0 while, and then I have curly brace open, curly brace closed, and I will write while I less than equals to 10. Okay, natural numbers start from 1, so I will do it 1, I less than equals to 10, and then I will print out the value of I. Okay, and I will also do an I plus equals to 1 or I plus plus, whatever you want. So I will increment the value of I by 1. Okay, so let's run this code and let's see the output, what happens. So I will run this code, and okay, we are having an infinite loop, we have to make it proper. This one, and we have to correct this one. No, it won't be I equal to 1, it will be I plus equals to 1, sorry, I plus equals to 1. Yeah, now it's fine. So let's run this. Okay, so we get the output as 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. This is my output of 10 natural numbers. So the while loop, if you can, as you can see, the while loop has a while keyword, then a set of parentheses, and then we have the condition. The condition will evaluate to some boolean result, and then inside the loop body we have two statements, which is I will print the value of I and I will increment the value of I by 1. Okay, this is my sample while loop. Okay, similarly, if you want to, let's say, use a decrementing factor in a while loop, how will you do that? Let's say I want to print 1 to 10 in the reverse order. So let's say I start from 10, I write something like this, I greater than equals to 1, fine, and system.out.println I and I minus equals to 1, or alternatively you can write I minus minus. So if I again run this code, let's see what's my output. I get 10 9 8 7 6 5 4 3 2 1. Okay, so why it is entry control? Because before entering the loop body I have to check the loop condition. Okay, let's see in the debug mode how one by one how the computer executes the statements. Okay, so let's run this in the debug mode. So let's see what happens. Int I equals to 10. When I execute this line, I can see that in my memory there is a variable I whose value is 10. Now the pointer points to this one, the execution pointer points to this one, while I greater than equals to 1. We know I equals to 10, so greater than equals to 1, it's true. So it comes inside the loop body, it will print the value of I. Let's execute this one. See, we get the value of I as 10. Then I minus equals to 1, which means I will decrement the value of I by 1. I execute this, the value of I becomes 9, and the control shifts back to the loop condition again. So again I will execute this one. 9 greater than equal to 1 is true, so it comes inside the loop body, print I, so I will get 9 as my output. Then again I minus equals to 1, I execute this, the value of I becomes 8, and again the control jumps back to the condition again. Okay, so this cycle will go on and on, go on and on. So this cycle will keep on going, and I will get my output in the screen below. I can get my output, so it will go on and on. Let's say the last iteration, we will watch the last iteration. So in this, with the value of I is 2, which is fine. I will print the value of I, so 2 is being printed. Then I minus equal to 1, the value of I becomes 1. So the value of I becomes 1, and is I greater than equals to 1? It is still true. It will come inside the loop body, it will print the value of I, and then again I minus equals to 1, which is 0. So now since it's 0, I greater than equals to 1 should return false, and my loop will exit. It comes to the last curly brace, and then the end of the program. Okay, so this is how the while loop operates. Okay, so you can start with any variable in the initialization phase. You can write any conditions, and you can go on, so on and so on. If you want, you can jumble up to conditions as well. Okay, so let's say I will copy this code and I will comment this out, and okay, so I will write another example where, let's say I have a boolean variable, let's say boolean flag. Okay, let's say boolean flag equals to true. Okay, so if you want, I can combine two conditions as well in a single expression. For example, I can write something like this: I greater than equal to 1, this condition will evaluate to something true or false, right? And then we have the AND operator, and then we have the value of the variable flag, which is true. So the entire expression will evaluate to something like this: true and true, true and true. True and true is, we know the value is true, the final result is true. So in this way we can attach more than one condition, and then we create one big compound expression, and then we can get the entire output. But keep in mind, the entire output should be a boolean value. Either it has to be a true or it has to be a false, and to enter the loop body you need a true value. Okay, so now when will this condition evaluate to false? Well, for example, this one, I greater than equals to 1. Okay, if this one evaluates to false and the value of flag is still true, so false and true will give you false, and then we exit the loop. Okay, we can write in different ways. For example, I will just copy this code, will comment this out, and then okay, I will paste this one. Let's say, how about boolean flag equals to true and while flag, okay, I will write system.out.println 1 I minus equals to 1, and if I less than 1, then flag equals to false. If I want, I can write in this way also, right? What I do is I take a variable int I equals to 10, I take a boolean flag equals to true. Now while loop always expects true, right? If the condition evaluates to true, then we enter the loop body. So I will just directly write the variable over here, flag. So whenever you write the variable inside the condition of a for loop, or let's say while loop, okay, Java automatically will extract the value from that variable, okay, but keep in mind that variable should be a boolean, the data type should be boolean. So if I have written flag over here, then the value of flag is true. So while it basically it becomes while true, something like this, okay. So while true, system.out.println I will print the value of I, which is 10. Then I will decrement the value of I, and I have written an extra condition, because since flag is true, then the condition will always evaluate to true, right? If it always evaluates to true, then we will have an infinite loop. So when do I get out of this loop? To get out of this loop, I will check the value of I if it is less than 1. The moment it becomes 0, okay, if it's less than 1, let's say the moment it becomes 0, I will make flag equal to false, and then when flag is false, this variable will evaluate to false, and then I will exit the entire while loop, okay. So I will attach a pointer over here, and then we will debug this program. Let's say what happens. Int I equals to 10, we get a variable in the memory I equals to 10, we get a flag variable in the memory which whose value is true, and then while true comes inside system.out.println I, the value of I gets printed, this one 10. Then I decrement the value of I, the new value becomes 9. Now this condition will be checked. Since the condition for this if returns false, hence we will not enter this if. Obviously the value of I is the value of I is 9, okay, so it's not less than 1, okay. So that is the reason we are not entering the if condition, okay. So we will go on, the value of flag remains true as it is, so we will go on executing this loop till the value of I comes to 1, okay. So we will check. You can notice that in all these iterations we do not execute the if condition, okay, we do not execute the body of the if condition. So now the I will be printed 2, okay, value of I becomes 1, it's still fine, it's still not less than 1, again it will execute, flag always remains true. Now we will see what happens. So 1 gets printed out, I minus equal to 1, which means the value of I becomes 0 in the memory, correct? You can see the value of I becomes 0. Now this if will come into play, see. So this one evaluates to true now, I less than 1, yeah, 0 is less than 1, so it evaluates to true. We enter the body of the if condition or the if block, and then flag equals to false, so the value of flag becomes false, okay. Now since the value of flag becomes false, we will exit this loop, okay, see. So we exit this loop, okay. So you can even use boolean variables to play around with a while loop, but the main thing is that the condition or whatever variable you are using, or whatever condition you are using, or whatever expression you are writing, everything should evaluate to a boolean value, and that boolean value, if it is true, then we will come inside the loop body. If it is false, then we will exit the loop. How about an infinite while loop? Pretty easy, right? Let's say we will comment this code out and we will create another example. Okay, how about an infinite while loop? Let's say I write something like this: while true sys out, let's say hello. This one becomes an infinite while loop. Why? Because the condition is always true, and since always true, we will never exit this while loop. So if I run this code, you will see it will go on printing hello, 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 and so on. Okay, so I need to end this process. Okay, so this is basically an infinite loop. Let's say we'll take another example. Okay, so let's say I delete this curly braces. Okay, and I will write while true and then just a single statement. Okay, system.out.println hello. Let's say I don't make it an infinite loop, we'll make it a proper loop. Let's say int I equals to 0 and while I plus plus less than 5. Means the immediate statement following after a while loop acts as the loop body, but any statement after that, any statement we write after here, okay, that won't be counted. So this statement system.out.println hello, this acts as the loop body. Okay, only the immediate statement, okay, not more than one, it can't be 2 or 3, no. If you are not using curly braces, only the immediate statement following that particular while loop or for loop, whatever, only that statement acts as the loop body. So we will see this in action. For example, if I also write something like this, system.out.println loop ended. Okay, and now we will run the program. So I get 1 2 3 4 5 times hello being printed. Okay, and then this statement executes once and we get the output loop ended. Okay, so this confirms our conclusion that only a single statement after a while loop without curly braces acts as the loop body. Okay, had this statement had this statement been also included in the loop body, we would have seen loop ended being printed 5 times, right? But this did not happen. We only get hello being printed out 5 times. Comment this out. We'll create a fresh example. How about I add a semicolon over here? Then the output will drastically change. Again, you have seen the same behavior with a for loop also. If you are using a semicolon just after a while loop without using curly braces, then we have a blank body or a non-existent loop body. If the loop body is non-existent, then the iteration will happen but nothing will be there to execute. Okay, so if you run this program, just see what happens. Hello being printed out once and loop ended also printed out once. Why did this happen? That is because even though the while loop performs its iterations, but there is no loop body. In this case, this statement does not act as a loop body because we have used a semicolon after the while statement. Hence, this means a blank loop body. Okay. In this case, hello being printed out once and loop ended also being printed out once. Even if you just delete this one and you write I to check the value of I, this can be confirmed over here, or rather 6. Okay, the value of I came as 6. Achha, why is it 6 by any chance? Why is this one 6? Let's say we have the I variable. Okay, its value starts from 0. Now while I plus plus less than 5, What will be the value of I? Plus plus means post increment, which means use then change. So 0 less than 5 is true. It will come inside the loop body, but since there is no loop body to execute, it will go back to the condition. Now before again evaluating the condition, we have a plus 1 pending in the memory. So now then the value of I will become 1. Okay, 1 less than 5, yes, goes into the loop body. No loop body to execute, it will come back to the condition, and the value of I will be 2. Okay, again 2 less than 5, it's true. There will be a plus 1 pending in the memory, so 2 will become 3. Again 3 less than 5, it's true. There will be a plus 1 pending in the memory. Computer will evaluate this one, and the value of I will become 4. 4 less than 5, it is true. It is true. Again there will be a plus 1 pending in the memory. Okay, now the control comes back to this condition I plus plus, but before that computer will execute this pending plus 1, and the value of I will be 5. So is 5 less than 5? No. Is 5 less than 5? No, it will be false. So the loop will exit, but since it's an I plus plus, there will be a pending plus 1. Now when it will exit the loop body, and over here when we are accessing the value of I, so before accessing the value of I, computer will check, okay, is there any pending operation? Yes, there is a plus 1 pending in the memory. So now the value of I becomes 6, and the value 6 will be printed out, and after that loop ended. Next we have is a do while loop. Okay, let's see do while. Do while loop. Do while loop is an exit controlled loop. It works similar to while loop, however there is a difference between them. In while loop, condition is evaluated before the execution of loop's body, but in do while loop, condition is evaluated after the execution of loop's body. So in a do while loop, the loop body will execute at least once. Very very important. In a do while loop, the loop body will execute at least once. Okay, why is this so? We will check. What is the syntax? The syntax is, we have a do keyword, okay, and then curly brace open, curly brace close. Inside that we have a set of statements, and after that curly brace ends, we will have a while and then the condition. Okay, so we will see this in action. For example, let's say I will comment this out. I will create a fresh example. Okay, do while loop, let's take an example. Let's say int I equals to 0. Okay, do I will print the value of I, and after that while I less than 5, okay, and a semicolon, very important, okay, and a semicolon, okay, and also I will use I plus equals to 1. This is how a do while loop looks like. Okay, so the execution starts from top to bottom, correct? So during execution, the computer will definitely go inside the loop body, which will execute these two statements, and then it will check the condition. So you can see the condition is being checked last, first the loop body and then the condition. So this is the reason do while loop is known as an exit control loop. It is known as an exit control loop because the exit is being controlled. Entry is free, but the exit is being controlled. Okay, after the first iteration, then it acts like a normal while loop. Okay, which means if the condition evaluates to false, then the entire do while loop will be exited. Okay, we will exit from the entire do while loop. So the first time entry is free, you can enter, you can execute the loop body, but after that the loop condition will be checked. If it becomes true, only then you go back inside the loop body. If it becomes false, you exit the loop body. That is the reason do while loop, in a do while loop, the body, rather the do block, it will execute at least once, which is the first time when the entry is free. After that the exit is controlled, the condition is evaluated, and if it evaluates to true, only then you can enter the do block. Okay, so we will see this in an example. Let's run this. We get 0 1 2 3 4 the output. Okay, we will take a closer look at the line by line execution. Let's run this code in a debugging environment. Okay, so we have a variable I in the memory whose value is 0. It enters the do block. Okay, the control enters the do block. You can see the while is not being executed right now. The first time, as I told, the entry is free, so it just enters the do block. Print I, value of I being printed is 0, I plus equals to 1, value of I becomes 1 in the memory. Now it comes to check in the while condition. Okay, and I less than 5 is true, then again it will go back to the do block and inside the body. So comes to the do block and then goes inside the body. Again, value of I being printed is 1. Let us increment the value of 1 again. I mean the value of I being incremented again, which becomes 2. Is 2 less than 5? Correct. Again it will flow back to the do block. Correct. And then it goes inside the loop body, print the value of I being printed as 2. Again I plus equals to 1, which means I becomes 3, comes back to the while loop, checks the condition, it's still true, again it will go back to the do block and then comes inside the do block's body, execute, and will go on execute till the value of I becomes 5. Now 5 less than 5 is false. Okay, so it will go to the do block and then it will exit the while loop. So as soon as the condition becomes false, it will come back to the do block, but it won't go inside the do block's body. It won't go inside the body, it will just come to the do block and then skip the entire do while loop, or rather exit the entire do while loop. There might be another question like, can we write a do block without the curly brace? Let's say I will create another example, will copy paste the same thing. Let's say I will remove the curly brace. Okay, and can I do this thing? Can I, let's say I will remove this one. Oh, sorry. Can I write something like this? And I will just add a plus plus over here. Can I write something like this? Will this work? We get the same output 0 1 2 3 4. Again the same concept with the for and the while loop is the immediate statement after the do keyword, the immediate statement after the do keyword will definitely be executed because that is the loop body. Only a single statement after the do block. Okay, any other statement over here won't be accepted. So only the immediate statement after the do keyword will be considered as the body of the do block. Only the immediate statement. And sorry, if I try to run this code, I will face a compilation error. Okay, so I cannot write this. I have to just write a semicolon over here and I can execute this one. 0 1 2 3 4. I get the same output. So the pattern is same, just like for and while. The immediate statement after the do keyword will be considered as a loop body.